Hello students, myself Dr. Rashmi Borua. Today I have come again to discuss with you with some different topics of change management. So I'm still in the unit 1, that is Introduction to Change Management, and the learning objectives of today's discussion will be need for change, realizing the need for change, and role of management at the time of change management. So first we'll discuss about need for change. Say friends, already I have mentioned that organizations need to change in order to cope up with the demands of the environment and to sustain itself. So we have found this before that organizations who prefer to change with the demand, they will sustain, they will survive, and growth of those organizations are possible. But if the organization does not want to change with time, they do not give importance on the demand of customers and market, it has been observed that it is very difficult for that kind of organization to survive and sustain, and with time they die out. So change is very much needed, and because of that the workforce mobility and diversity can be seen. The revolution in technology is another factor. Creation of a learning culture, giving importance to internal customers' need, challenged organizational design and human resource management practices that have nowadays, and also to give response to current and future customer needs for both the external and internal customers are very much important. So now I will explain all these needs one by one in detail. Workforce mobility and diversity. As we know that today the availability of work opportunities is not restricted to a certain region. After the LPG, localization, privatization and globalization that has been taken place in the year 1991, people can move from one place to other place. In fact, the players can open the companies in different places other than their own country. Nowadays, we can observe that organizations around the world try to attract talented people from all over the world to work with them. Students, there are so many companies we get to see who prefer to have quality work. They're ready to give any kind of compensation to people, but they want talented employees for their organizations. Therefore, competent people are attracted by these kind of companies who goes for quality, by the compensation and the benefits provided by them. As I have told, they do not hesitate to give good compensation and benefits to the talented people if they feel that those talented people are going to give better quality and productivity in their organization. Therefore, this has led to the workforce mobility, where it leads to the diversity at workplaces with more and more people from different cultures, different languages, different personal background, different ethnic backgrounds, different countries, etc., joining the workforce of an organization. In fact, we can see, so many people in our organization, maybe, they are not from our locality. They are from different place, but they have come here as they have got the better scope over here. Similarly, we can see some people from our country, they have gone to different places in the world as they have received some good response or some good compensation and benefits has been provided to them by those companies. Therefore, One change is taking place nowadays. It is workforce mobility and diversity. Not a single organization you can see where you have homogeneous people. You get to see diverse people. So ultimately, your workforce is made up by the heterogeneous group. The second need of change has arisen due to the revolution in technology. I can tell that the revolution in technology has really transformed the organization scenario. For example, say, we can see the changes that are brought about by information technology or digital technology. With a click of a mouse, enormous information can be gathered and recorded. Instant communication can be established. In fact, this has enabled to increase the production with lesser number of people. Here, friends, I would like to tell you that nowadays so high funda machines have come, so sophisticated machines have come. They work like robots, and that is why the dependency on manual labors are decreasing day to day. Organizations have really transformed from being labor intensive to capital incentives. So the technology has got a very big impact on the change. Nowadays, many organizations have realized that it is very difficult for them to handle people, and that is why they feel instead of having more people in the organization, it is better if they have some sophisticated technology which require less number of labor in the organization. And therefore, the revolution is in technology has big impact or large impact on change management. The third need is creation of a learning culture. As all of us, we know that today people working at various levels in the organization are better equipped with professional knowledge and hence they refer to as knowledge workers who are willing to get themselves updated. Nowadays, the scenario is like that. If an employee is not updated, it will not be possible for the owner to keep him in his organization. Therefore, every employees have realized how important it is to get trained and update their knowledge and skill so that they can run the new technology or they can cope themselves with the new process and procedures that adopted in organizations. Thus, the organization also would wish to create a learning culture so that obsolescence of human resource is minimized. As all of us, we know that just because your human resources are getting old or they do not know to run the new technology, if you kick them out, the turnover rate from human resource perspective will be high and that will lead some negative impact on the society. Maybe the public image of your company will go down. So, not to have that, nowadays organizations also are equally responsible and they're really taking care of to organize some training and development program so that they call good trainer, they can give the employees the chance to attend those state training and update their skill and knowledge so that their human force can cope up with the new changes. So, creating of a learning culture has become so important for the organization as well as from individual perspective, which is also having an impact on getting change in the organization. The fourth point of the need of change management is successful international competitions have challenged organizational designs and human resource management practices nowadays. See, students, it implies that the organizational designs and human resource management practices that were adopted earlier may not be suitable to run the organization successfully today. If I tell about how the organization structure used to be, previously, the organization structure used to be very tall organization structure. It means having many hierarchies. But nowadays, employees they do not like to work in this tall organizational structure. So most of the organizations now prefer leaner, flat and flexible organization structure. That means they do not like many levels or they do not like the tall organization structure anymore. The human resource management practices are more linked to the strategy of the organization. So every employees they feel to work in a team, small team having maybe 4 or 5 people. They will take some strategy, they will go for some project work, and they just work in a small group or team having a very flat organization structure instead of preferring the tall organization structure that used to be there in before years. So the next need for change is proactively and systematically understand and respond to current and future internal customer needs. So friends, here I would like to tell you that if I am producing a product, I should not always concern for external customers. First, the organization will have to satisfy the internal customers' needs. And if they can satisfy the internal customer needs, they can go to the second step that means the satisfying external customer needs. Each and every individuals and group working in an organization are referred to as internal customers and who also have certain expectations that need to be fulfilled for achieving their efficiency at work. So maybe by chance if I talk about a product, say I'm producing a product D, which actually A to B conversion, B to C conversion, C to D conversion, and D is the end product. So A to B conversion is taking place in factory 1, B to C conversion is taking place in factory 2, C to D conversion is taking place in factory 3. So all the workers working in factory 1, they are selling their product to the workers of factory 2. So if factory 2 workers say that the A to B conversion is not good, B is the end product for factory 1 and same B is the raw material for factory 2. If factory 2 people do not like the raw product B, that means factory 1 people are not good. They are not having the capability to satisfy the workforce of factory B or factory 2. That means they are not fulfilling the internal customer needs. And if you cannot fulfill the internal customer needs, then it's just next to impossible to satisfy external customers. So nowadays, organizations have given so much importance to the quality and productivity and efficiency and effectiveness so that they can make internal customers happy for the performance. The next need for change management is successful organizations place high priority on proactivity and systematic understanding and on responding to current and future external customer needs. See here, first, as I have told you, you'll have to give importance satisfying the internal customers, and if you can do that, then you'll have to try to satisfy external customers too. So, successful organizations have realized that their success does not depend on only what they offer in the market, but in targeting the right customers and finding and fulfilling the needs of those customers. So it is very important for every organization to understand who are the target group, whom you want to target. Whole organization, whole world cannot be your target group. So you'll have to find whatever product you are producing, whom you are targeting. So once you can understand that this is your target group, then you will have to make the product in such a way so that your target customers feel satisfied using that particular product. and they are ready to change themselves for the happiness of the customers. So organizations can go to any extent nowadays to change themselves, to change their employees, so that they can make some kind of product, and they can give some kind of services to customers, so that customers feel happy and become loyal to that particular company. Now, here I would like to say, as we have already got six different need of change, so workforce mobility and diversity, then we have seen that the revolution in technology, then we have seen that learning culture has become very important, then we have seen that new management practices need to come. You'll have to satisfy the internal customers need as well as you'll have to satisfy the external customer needs. Now organization has realized the need for change, and it is so important for the organization to understand that the time has come to for them to get the change. Say friends, here I would like to tell you, nowadays so many competitions. If you are producing something, you'll have to be very lucky if you are having monopoly business in that particular area. Otherwise, every business now, every organization, they're competing with their competitors because it is oligopoly market. So whenever you are not doing good, maybe say as for example your market share is going down, the organization will have to immediately understand or immediately realize that the need has come for them to get the new change. And if they can realize that fast, then it will be good for the organization. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for them. Therefore, the need for change might be there, but at times the organization may not be aware of it or may not believe that it is necessary. And why they believe it is not necessary? Because it is why they believe it is necessary. You know, they do not believe because they are always in a comfort zone, and people they always have that negative feeling to come out from the comfort zone. That is why they're seeing that their market share is reducing, but still they are confused what to do, what not to do. And sometimes they're very unfortunate, they're not aware why it is happening. By the time they realize that change is actually needed, at times it is quite late, causing harm to the organization. Say here I would like to put an example. Say I was producing say pen, and I was the market leader, my market share was 60%. Then my market share has come down to 40% in 1 year, because my competitors company has started producing similar kind of product and selling in lesser price. So of course customers started buying from my competitors company instead of buying my product. So if I can realize that why my market share is reducing, if I can realize that, if I can analyze and diagnose this problem, I can take some strategy and I can get the change. But if I cannot realize why this is happening, then it will be very difficult for the organization and it will cause harm to the organization. Therefore, the need for change comes with a change trigger. So maybe in this example, reducing market share is a change trigger, emerging in the environment, creating an impact on the organizations. It destabilizes the existing business situation. So here I have given an example. Say the launch of a new product by a competitor or coming up with a new business strategy can take away the market share of an organization. So if my competitor has come up with a new strategy, I'll also have to come with some other strategy to compete with that particular strategy adopted by the competitors. And if I don't take any strategy, I will be nowhere. So here, once the business situation is destabilized, organizations try to reassess their alignment to the market. And if they find fault in this alignment, if they can diagnose the problem, why this is happening, they decide to change and chalk out plans to deal with this change. And they finally choose the best plan for implementation. But problem will arise if they cannot chalk out the plans or they cannot decide what kind of change will be good for the organization. Then of course it is not possible for those organizations to make the plan. And with time their market share will reduce more and more. And maybe one time will come they will have to shut down their organization. Therefore, there are three zones of change that can be seen in the organization. Three zones of realizing the need for change. One is the zone of self-deception, one is zone of resolution, and one is zone of action. So here students, I would like to tell you. First, the change will trigger. In my example, the change was my market share was reducing. From 60% in 1 year, my market share has become 40% and I am no more the market leader in this area. So this is the change trigger, and due to this change trigger destabilize the existing business situation. My situation is not stable at all. It has become very unstable, and I don't know, now my market share is 40%. With time it may reduce to 30%, 20%, and so on. So this is the zone where we say the zone of self-deception. So in this particular zone of self-deception, you have seen that some triggers have come and your organization has become destabilized. So immediately you will have to do the reassessment of alignment to market. So if you can do the reassessment, you can understand, you can diagnose the problem, and accordingly you can make a decision to get a change. We say the change decision. This particular part we say the zone of resolution. So if the zone of self-deception is very long, it will make lot of harm to the company. So we'll have to see that your zone of self-deception is very short. You realize immediately and you get the change. That means zone of resolution come very fast. And once you get the change, of course in beginning you will get some problem. But with time you will have to stabilize the change plan. And this particular action is known as zone of action. So these are the three zones of realizing the need for change. So change triggers and destabilizing of the organization comes under zone of self-deception. Realizing that you'll have to align your organization with the market and getting the new change is known as zone of resolution. Once you get the change, implement the change, some disturbances will take place in the organization. So making your organization stabilize is known as zone of action. So friends, let's try to understand here. So the whole process of this realization to change can be divided into three zones, as I have already explained. The zone of self-deception, where people deny that changes has really happened and there is a need to change. So this is the zone of self-deception where my company people are not accepting that my competitors are doing good, and that is why their market share is reducing and my market share is their market share is increasing and my market share is reducing. So my people are not accepting that. My people are telling we are the best people. We do not know why our competitors market share is increasing. But my people will have to accept that our competitors are doing something good which we are not doing, and due to which our market share is reducing. So zone of self-deception is a very negative zone where my people are denying. And if my people deny for a long time, it will create lots and lots and lots and problems in my organization. So as a manager, I'll have to see that the zone of self-deception is very short for my organization. I'll have to make my people realize that our competitors are good somewhere. Maybe they have adopted a good process. Maybe they have adopted a good procedure. Maybe they have adopted a good machinery due to which their outcome is better than us. And that is why their market share is increasing and our market share is reducing. And once you admit that, then you will go to the next zone, that is just zone of resolution, where they finally agree that change is required. So in this zone of this self-deception, the owner or management will have to make some urgent situation that, if this is the problem we are facing, if you do not accept the change, we'll have to shut down our organization. Your jobs will go. So one time will come, our people will realize that yes, change is required, and this is the zone, we say the zone of resolution, where they finally agree that change is required. Once they agree that change is required, of course the change can be implemented, and this is the zone of action when they actually carry out the change. So here I would like to tell you that longer they stay in the zone of self-deception, more is the harm that can be done to the organization. So sooner the zone of resolution and zone of action, the better is for the organization. So organization will have to see that, or the top level management will have to see that the zone of self-deception is short. You can make your people agree, or you can make your people convinced that yes, we need the change, and then you can implement the change very easily. So these are the three zones: the zone of self deception, zone of resolution, and zone of action. These are the three zones of realizing the need for change. After this, I would like to go for the third topic: the role of management at the time of change management. So, whenever change will come, of course, many people who are in the comfort zone, they will always resist the change. So the management people of the organization has got some responsibilities. They will have to take some role. Different kind of managerial role will come so that they can implement the change effectively. So first thing they will have to do is communicate with direct subordinates about the change. See here friends, I would like to tell you that every individual love if you go for participative style of leadership. So whenever says for example production head has decided to get the new machinery, production head will alone will not run the machines. He needs all the engineers, all the technical people and all to run the machine. So it is his duty, his role to explain what kind of machines are coming to the organization, what my people, my technical staff is, thinking about this new machine. It is very important for the production head to communicate everything. Transparency should be there to tell everything to the subordinates about the new change that the top level management are planning to get. So once the subordinates know that yes, this kind of change the top level management are planning to get, they give good support. But without telling them, if you get the change, they feel depressed, they feel deprived, and then they do not accept that change so easily. Secondly, demonstrate the support for the change. See, that is one thing. It is very difficult for each and every employee to run the new machine when they have run the old machine since last 10 years. So they will be having some inferior complex whether they will be able to cope up with the new machine or not. So it is the duty of the management people, it is a role of managers to demonstrate the support for the change. They will have to give support to the employees saying that next 3 months it's just a learning phase for you. And if your performance is not good, we are not going to cut your salary. In fact, we'll be giving you some incentives if you say yes for the change, even though your performance may be less for next 3 months. As it's a very new technology for you, it's a very new thing for you, so we'll give you full support. Thirdly, coaching employees through the change. So this coaching can be the on the job training, it can be the off the job training, it can be sending them for some conference or seminar, or sending them for some kind of other learning experiences, so that you coach the employees, you train the employees through this particular change. And once the employees are trained, they will get the confidence, they will accept the change very easily. Engage with and provide support to the project team. So many organizations nowadays, as I have told you, employees they do not like tall organization structure. They prefer flat organization structure or project team. So many time organization take strategy where they go for some project work. And it is the role of the management people to engage the employees and provide them support to go for this project work. Lastly, the management people will have to check, identify, and they will have to manage the resistance. They will have to identify who all are the people who all are resisting the change, and then they will have to manage those people who all are resisting the change. But see here, I would like to tell you one thing. Whenever the change comes, the management people are also human beings. Sometimes they also may hesitate to accept the change. So it is very important for the management people, you know, to get the change, to understand the change. And then if they get convinced, it will be easier for them to convince the employees. So at the time of getting the change, the managers will have to remember the crucial fact that managers are employees first and managers second. So if I'm a manager, it does not mean that whatever change will come, I'll get convinced. I may not get convinced. So my duty is first, I'll have to understand the whole system. Whatever has got change, I'll have to get convinced. And once I'm convinced, then it will be easier for me to make my people get convinced. Managers have to reconcile themselves with a change before they can effectively guide their direct subordinates. The framework shown in this process contains two phases. So, preparing yourself for the change. So, management people will have to prepare themselves for the change, and once they are prepared, they will have to lead the employees through change. So, see here, I would like to tell you how the management people will prepare themselves for change. They will understand the changes underway and their role. So, the management people will have to understand what all changes are coming in this organization and what will be their role to implement that change successfully in the organizations. Once they understand that, then they will start adopting to change that is happening to you. So if you do not understand why you will adapt, you will not. So first thing is understanding the change. Once you understood, you are going to adapt the change. And once you adapt, after adapting, you are developing or you are trying to develop the competencies for managing the change. So for the management people, it's very, very important to understand the change. And once they understand, they will have to adopt the change. And once they adapt, they will be motivated to get trained and develop those competencies so that they can manage other people or their staff people to get the change. So once they're convinced, then those management people will be able to lead employees through change. So what management people will do? Introducing change to your employees. So you are a manager, so you will have to introduce the change to the employees because you understood the change, you adapt the change, you got the competencies also. So you are introducing that new change to the employees. You are telling them how important for the employees to accept the change, because if you do not accept the change, our organization may shut down. And if our organization is shut down, means no jobs will remain. So you'll have to introduce change to the employees, managing employees through transition. So employees, some transition will take place. Transition means not knowing the new technology to knowing the new technology. So this is a transition phase where you'll have to give lots of, you know, training to the people. So as a manager, you will have to conduct and organize some kind of training and development programs for your employees so that you can manage employees through this transition phase. And once your employees all are trained, you'll have to reinforce. Reinforce means maybe positively reinforce or negatively reinforce. As you have trained everyone now know how to run the new machine. So you'll have to reinforce that people who all are giving better result will be getting some more incentives. And it is very important to celebrate the success, because maybe it's a small milestone you are covering, and you will have to celebrate the success, because by celebrating the success, employees will get motivated that yes, they have given some good result. So management people will have to reinforce employees, and at the same time when they cross some milestone, maybe a very small promotion, but they will have to implement, some kind of celebration they will have to organize. Communication should always be there. Anytime top level management feel that lower level or staff people are not understanding, there should be open communication and sponsorship. Anytime they feel that people need more training, they will have to organize the training system, training program, and they will have to give training to the people. So with this, students, we have covered three topics today. What all the different need for change, different zone of realizing the change management, and what all the role of management people for implementing the changes in the organization. Thank you so much.